Welcome back to another episode. Well, today's cleaning day, and I've definitely had challenges with the family working to declutter various things. Now, here's the thing, I'm guilty just like they are, but I work to keep the common spaces clear, and that's not always the easiest. Now, it's my mission to essentially have a house where I can kind of walk through without tripping, and everything's clear and organized, and I can't spend all my time doing that. But it makes it even more difficult when the rest of my family has different goals that don't line up with that. So as a result, often, I actually find myself cleaning up after my family. And I always look for tricks to make that easier for myself. So if it's something that I don't have to do and I can outsource, and it's something that I can even outsource for my family, it makes it easier for everybody. So even though I still have challenges keeping tabletops clear because of my daughter's artwork, and honestly a lot of her artwork and my wife's crafts, that can be a challenge. So our dining table is always filled with stuff. We have to clear that off in order to actually sit down and eat. And the other dining room we actually have, there's always so much stuff going on in there that I don't know how anyone gets anything done. So those don't tend to be my areas to do a lot of work, but I still like to keep them clear. So a few years ago, something that I tuned into that became an incredible trick for me was learning about the Roomba. Now, if you haven't heard of a Roomba before, a Roomba is a particular brand of a robotic floor cleaner. And at first, I used it in a rental property because every time there was actually, we're doing showings for new residents, and every time we actually did a showing, things had to get cleaned up, right? So I was thinking, man, how can I make this place look clean and presentable every time someone walks in without actually having to vacuum myself or have a cleaning crew come through? And so the thought came to me of, you know what, let me actually work with a Roomba and see if that actually does a trick. So the property was about 1,200 square feet, all one floor, and every door could be left open, and I actually let the Roomba run at night. And my big question was, will this one Roomba clean the entire floor? And sure enough, it did. Now, it left some interesting geometric patterns, almost looking like crop circles when it finished, but it did the job. And so when I did that and I recognized that I was able to outsource that responsibility to something else, it made my life a lot easier, because every time there was a viewing or a showing, and I think we probably had at least 25 to 30, just run the Roomba at night, and it cleaned everything up and it made everything look pristine for the next visit. So I thought to myself, it works so well in that situation. What would happen if I actually applied it in my own home? So I did the same thing. We have some very interesting patterns. My kids like leaving things on the floor, and I gave it a test drive. So the Roomba actually works so well that I could tell how much work it was doing based on how much dirt it was actually picking up. So it picked up so much dirt that was something that I had to do probably for the first week, is it got so filled up that it might actually stop and get overfilled as the day was going. So I'd had to actually clean it. But it picked up so much, and it did such a better job than I ever could, that I thought to myself, why did I never outsource this in the first place? And at first I was always thinking about an expense. But as soon as I actually executed and I outsourced it, and I realized not only how much time it was saving me, but it did a better job than I could, I was sold. So this is our Roomba. One of the minions that we actually have as a part of a collection, because we not only have one Roomba, we have a Roomba for each floor, and I think we have an extra one on top of that. So we have a total of 4. Now, one thing you may be thinking is, man, Roombas, they can be kind of expensive. I go to the stores and I see what the prices are. We did not get ours new. We got all of ours used. And the thing that I really appreciate about it is I fix things. So the maintenance on these Roombas has made each of them worth it. I've had to change the batteries. I've had to change some of the parts here and there. but these things are rugged. They work very well, and again, they just make my job so much easier. So a big example of the things they actually clean, some of the corners and under the bed, stuff that you don't even think about cleaning, they can fit underneath and they can go through and they can clean. When this Roomba came out from underneath the bed and cleaned the bed in our master bedroom, it was an area that hadn't been touched in years. So that was a really big deal. Now, something that actually made it even better was the ability to schedule when the Roombas run. So an added benefit of the cleaning crew with the minions is that when it was time for bed, I actually decided to set the schedule for our Roombas on the main floor to actually clean the main floor when it was time for everyone to go upstairs and go to bed. And so what that did is that conditioned my kids to know when it was time to go to bed, because all of a sudden they heard the Roombas going. And all of a sudden they were frantic to try to get upstairs before the Roombas got them. That was kind of like the big story. Like, well, the Roombas are going to get you when they start running because they're cleaning up and they just might suck you up. And sure enough, it was just a mad dash for everyone to go up. So it was a great way to set a timer and to condition the kids that, hey, now's bedtime. And if you don't go to bed, the Roombas are going to get you, right? So that's kind of like the inside story, the inside joke. But without a doubt, the Roombas that we have, having one for each floor, allowing them to run on their own and just clean them out, makes life easier. And what that does is that frees me up to do the things that I actually need to do and that I want to do. And I don't have to worry so much anymore about even cleaning up after myself, because even if I drop something on the floor, I'm like, hey, you know what? The Roombas will get to it. And they do a great job, and that's why we still have them around. So those are our minions. Those are our minions. And if you haven't heard of a Roomba, now you know the story, now you know the background, and now you know what you can do. And you don't have to spend an arm and a leg. You can get a great deal on a used one. And once you start using it, you're going to start scratching your head and you're thinking to yourself, why didn't I use this before? So I hope you appreciate this message. If you don't have a Roomba already, or you're looking to outsource the cleaning piece and you haven't done so already, it can save you a lot of time. And remember, something out there can do it better than you. So don't be afraid to actually employ that resource. So hope you appreciate this message, and there will be plenty more because I'm always looking for things to outsource, especially when it comes to tasks around the house. So stay tuned. All right, bye.